Well, we are back. Eventually going to get some work done on the Transit. So, as I said in my previous video, the plan is I want to get this front end all finished off. I want to get the welding finished there, welding finished there. I want to get this fender done, and I want to get this all painted. These brake lines that run around the back of the engine compartment, I want them replaced. And then, did I mention paint? I want everything painted. Then I want the engine and transmission in. That is the plan. And yes, that is Cesspit's old bumper. Just had a moment, thought I'd play around with it. So another update, I now have the plastic fenders. I've just brought them with me. I haven't unpacked them yet, but yeah, I do have them with me. I also have the spacer to fit the hub adapters to these front wheels. Now, fit the front wheels to the van. Now, don't tell me it's starting to rain. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, whatever. Anyway, where was I at? Yeah. So it didn't shoot the wheel spacers being made. They were done by a friend in his workshop, and I just wasn't there. I was, tied up with business. But I am going to get those on during this visit. The other thing that I do have with me is I have a set of I had a spare set of Mondeo wheels, 17-inch, same type as what was on Cesspit, and I have brought them with me mainly because the tyres hold air. The ones that the Jag rims that I actually kind of prefer, none of the tyres hold air, so yeah. So that's where we are at. On a sadder note, speaking of old Cesspit, there she is, all loaded up, ready to go to be recycled. So next time you see her, well, actually I hope you can hear me over this, it's windy as well, that doesn't help me. So yeah, the next time you see this old girl, you probably, it'll be a Kia. Anyway, enough procrastinating. I'm going to put this camera to one side, get changed, and then figure out what I'm going to start with on the van. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to get any welding done today because of the damned wind. And yeah, I mean the gas just blows away. So I don't know. I'm going to put the camera down, get changed, and just have a bit of contemplation. I may actually do those things. Oh, for goodness sake, the spacers, yeah, and get the wheels on. And I do have the leather seats with me as well. Again, if you saw my last video, then you know I was messing about with the leather seats. They're just going to be sat in for the time being. I'll stick one in the other van because I need to move it, and it doesn't have a seat in it, and I'll stick one in here. Then again, they're out of the way. It's anyway, yes. Camera down, changed, and let's figure out what we're going to do. Well, here we go, first testing of the wheel spacing. So, that's it there. And those on there are really good. Now, one thing I do want to point out, I am putting longer studs in this, so these are not what are going to be used. So this is basically just a test fitting. Again, all I'm going to be doing is these are just going to be put on temporarily because I want to take this whole front end off and rebuild it. But I'm not rebuilding this until after I come back from the States. There's no point in putting new rotors and everything on just to have them all rust up while it's sitting here for another 3 or so months. But I want to get these on. I just wanted to see if the spacers worked, and they work extremely well. But obviously, when I do come to do this, all of this will be cleaned up. And yes, I know there's a bolt missing. I had the bolt so I could get a correct thickness for the spacer, and admittedly I don't know what I've done with it, but anyway, the hubs and everything will be coming off. So, and I've got the other van for spare parts, so I'm going to get this fitted, and I'm going to get the alloy rim offered up and just see what it looks like. So yeah, I'll be back in a few minutes. Oh, there we go. Actually fits quite nice. So obviously the front is sitting real high at the moment because there's no engine or transmission in it. So once that diesel engine goes in, that'll drop that way down. And as for the back, let's just close this door. The back still sits a little high as well, but again, that is something that I intend dropping down, so probably take a leaf out of that. But yeah, overall, not bad at all. Now, one thing I will emphasise is that I will not be leaving these tyres on. Although they're actually a very good set of tyres, these are car tyres and they're not designed for vans. So when I do come to actually getting this sorted out, I'll either put a set of tyres on these, or I'll sell these rims with these tyres and I'll put a set on the X-type rims. That's all up in the air right now, so not really paying too much attention to that. So anyway, it's starting to rain heavy now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this camera to one side. I'm going to get this seat actually put away, and then I'll get some of the Mondeo stuff. I'll put that into the trailer because I am doing an auto jumble this weekend, so some of Mondeo stuff that I won't be using will be heading there. So yeah, grey sky, and see what we can get done. But yeah, tomorrow it's supposed to be nice all weekend, so I will be able to get back to this and hopefully get a lot more done. So anyway, let's get this tidied up. Well, good morning and welcome back. As you can see, I really got a lot of work done yesterday. Now, I didn't have to shoot any footage. Main reason being was we've got a bit of a storm heading our way, so I really wanted to just get on and get the welding done, which I did. Got this side all nicely done and complete, and this side's all nicely done and complete. I went ahead and just gave one single coat of Hammerite. I went ahead and just give it one quick coat of Hammerite. Now I am going to come back and I'm going to spray this engine compartment completely, but the main areas I wanted doing was just this area. The main areas I wanted doing was kind of like this area here. Basically bits that are going to be difficult to get to when the engine's put in. Now that is what I'm going to start concentrating on today. When I get the engine done, well, obviously I may not get it in and start it today, but I want at least to make a start stripping the blue van down, getting the engine out of that. The other thing I want to concentrate on as well is I want to get the dashboard out of it as well, and the wiring harness, which again is, you know, I want all the diesel related stuff in here. So let's go over and take a look at the old blue. But oh, the other thing I did was I did trim this fender off, the lip on the wheel arch off. I don't know, I may get to welding this, I may not. I really don't know right now. It's Sunday and I've got until Friday, so there's a lot to do, but it depends on how quickly it goes and how well the weather holds up. Was thinking about trimming the rear one off, but yeah, let's leave that for the moment. So let's go over to Old Blue here. Now, I did stick a battery on here the other day, but I didn't realise that one of the interior lights was on, so this may be dead. Obviously, did the right thing and fitted a secure seat into there. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So let me go grab the car. I'm gonna put some jumper cables on and get this started and move it over there. Okay, I'm not sure if you can hear me over the noise of this thing, but got it started and see if we can actually move it. Okay, we're in. No point in putting the foot on the brake, John. There's no brakes. Right then. Okay. I actually got this. Oh, that's all it was. I was driving over something. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I want to get it down here so I can actually just get some of it cleared out. Okay. Let's just stop her there. Yeah, when I need to sort this back out, get everything out that I want out of it, and everything I don't want can then be disposed of. Anyway, let's stop that and let's get on with it. Well, yeah. My plan had been to get this engine pulled out today, but I started sorting out the bits that I wanted to keep and the bits that I wanted to get to send to the dump, and it kind of, yeah, but I have basically everything in that pile there is to keep. So what I'm doing is stuff that isn't is going into this van here. Now this frame here, I am going to keep that for the time being. I may use that. Then again, I may not. I don't know yet. But that said, I don't want to scrap it and find out that I'm going to need it. Other bits and pieces, you know, there's like bits of step and stuff like that. Bits of trim that I've taken out of here. And I'll make the best up out of the two. Do want that window out on that side because it is broken on the wide van. And I think that's it. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else that I want to take out of here. But yeah, so yeah, that's what I've been up to. And yeah. Stripped the door cards off. I wanted to use the door cards on the white van, but they are actually slightly different. So given that these doors are also in really good condition, I might just swap the entire door over. Because what I can do is, when I do get around to painting this, I can just take these doors off, strip them down, paint all the inner jambs and everything before I actually remove them off the other van. Then that way that van's still sealed up while it's outside. But I mean it could be a plan. I don't know at the moment. It's one of those things. But anyway, thought I'd just grab the camera, just run a quick update there, and yeah. So right, it's going to get all this sorted. I'm kind of putting it into the van. Basically from stuff that I need last to stuff that I need first. So that's the theory anyway. There's the seat in place. I mean, it's not bolted down, it's just sat in place, but these look good in here. They look really good in here. what I'm going to do with the other door cards, I'm going to take them back with me, and I do have some more of this leather. What I may do is see if I can actually incorporate some of the leather into the door cards, under the door panels, plastic, whatever they are, and yeah, take it from there. I don't know. It's I think it's going to look really good this when it's done. Anyway, let me put this down and get the rest of this stuff sorted out, and then I may be able to start taking some of that apart tonight. I'm not sure. I'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'll be back. Well, that's everything sorted at this point. Just got it organised front to back, what I need first, what I need last. So I think what I'm going to do next is do want this dash out, so I may just begin the just loosening off. I think it's Torx 1, 2, and then there's 3 or 4 along the top and another 2 down the other side. And it'll at least give me a handle on how much work it is involved in removing this. As I've stated a couple of times, I want to use the later dashboard in it because mainly the diesel wiring harness is slightly different. Doesn't have an ignition system, so it doesn't incorporate that, but it does have a fuel cutoff, which is on the key. So you turn the key off, it cuts fuel to the engine, stops the engine. And I'm not entirely sure whether that's just engine compartment wiring or whether it is under dash wiring. Different people I've spoken to have had different ideas, so yeah. Plus, like I say, I want to put the later dashboard in anyway. But yeah, I think I'm going to just loosen these top fixings off and then probably just call it quits for the day. By the time I get this done, it's probably going to be getting on towards dinner time, so yeah. Okay, let's get to it. Well, there's the clocks and everything disconnected now. You know, I'll tell you something. These don't half look like the old Cortina gauges. Because the previous, like the square generation transits, the Mark 1s and 2s, well, the Mark 2s, you could actually put the Cortina bezel and everything in with the tachometer, and it was basically just one wire to the coil. But this definitely looks like an evolution of that. I wonder if it's a Sierra one. Because that is one thing about these vans, during this period, there was a lot of interchangeability between components. But yeah, I must admit, I kind of wish I could use these, because I just like this dash layout, I really do. Anyway, I've got everything, it's held on somewhere, I'm not entirely sure where, but that's why I took the clocks out, so if I could see anything in here. But I've got everything out down this side. There's one screw up there still to get, but he is just spinning, and he does seem to be, no, he's holding on to something. I wonder if there's something under this piece of trim. Let's whip this off, take a look, see what we've got under there. The other side seems to be quite, you know, it's held on, it's this side that's hanging on somewhere. Yeah, I'm going to pull this off, see what's underneath it. You never know. Anyway, I'll be back. Okay, got it all figured out. So, if you ever do find yourself having to remove one of these dashboards, it's quite simple once you find all the fixings. So from the top we've got 1, 2 there, we've got 3 there, 4 in the middle, 5 at the other side. Now if we go around to the passenger side, now I'm assuming for a left-hand drive vehicle it's going to be reversed, so but we've got that one there, so that's 5, 6, 7, then Ford sneakily hid 2, I don't know if the camera will actually pick them up, but right in there, the back of the glove box bolts to a bracket, and there's 2 in there. Now then, all of those removed and the dash should basically just be loose. Now obviously I've still got all the heater control cables to disconnect yet, but basically she's there. Now I did loosen the column off just to get a bit of play there, so let's just see if she'll pop up over there. Ah, heater vents. Right, so we've got the air vents, that's the only thing left holding this in place, and the actual cables to the vent controls. So let me get these disconnected and then we will call it a night. And overall this hasn't been too bad, you know, it's just a case of just figuring out where all of those damn fixings are, that we got there eventually, that's the main thing. So yeah, I think I'm going to put the camera on charge for the night and then just get these removed, and then that'll be it till tomorrow, and then we'll start dismantling the blue one. Way. Well, dismantling begins. Quite a task ahead, but that's okay. Biggest issue is, one thing I have noticed about this, did put a good battery on it yesterday. Obviously it fires straight up, however, battery was dead this morning when I got up, when I got out here, so yeah, I'm not sure what that is all about, but that needs to be addressed. But as you can see, we've had critters living in here, so I don't know what they have gotten into, but main thing today is I want to get this front end stripped down and maybe get this engine out, and then we can figure the rest of it out after that. I do have another project tomorrow, which is kind of a last minute thing. Another van. I don't know, I may make a separate video of it, I may not. Just see how time plays out, but it's a LDV. Not like the white ones that are kicking around here, it's a much later one. They have the 2.8 VM diesel in them, which were built by Fiat. They were used extensively by Chrysler in Europe as well. Now the issue seems to be it's a manual transmission, cable controlled. A jet goes by. Cable controlled manual transmission, and for whatever reason the gear changes went really stiff on it, so it's going to pop back that by tomorrow. I'll take a quick look at it, see if I can do anything with it, and then it's back on these. Like I say, I'm not sure if I'll actually include that in a video or not, but all comes down to time. Anyway, speaking of time, let's put this camera to one side and get on with the dismantling. One thing to note though, this is an AC vehicle, which is quite unusual, but as far as I'm aware it doesn't work, and to be honest I don't think I'll recommission it. I mean, at the end of the day, this is England. We get like 3 hot days a year, so you know, you can kind of live without it. But once I get it disconnected, I may see if I can see what's wrong with it, and it's an easy fix. I'll probably go ahead and do it. If not, you know. But yeah, the condenser doesn't look in the best of condition, but I do actually have another condenser laying around somewhere. So that came out of cesspit and it's almost identical. So you know, yeah. But like I say, see how it plays out. Oh, we're getting on there. This has actually taken a lot more to get out than the gas engine did on the white van here. One of the major problems that I've run into is this whole front end looks like it has been off at some point. But whoever's put it back on, it's like every single bolt is rounded off. If it's not rounded off, it's like 15 feet long. And same with the screws, just every screw head is just mangled. So it's, you know, I've just reached the point where it was like, well, to hell with it, I'm not using this body shell. I'll just get the grinder and cut the whole front end out. So that's kind of where we are. Starting to get into the engine. Just pulling bits and pieces off. Yeah, I mean, overall that's not too bad. The air conditioning in it is absolutely shot. Got the radiator out. The radiator's got several holes in it. Half the pipework's already been cut at some point, so you know, and there's just bits missing off it everywhere. So yeah, no air conditioning, which, you know, like I said earlier, it's not a big deal. You know, this isn't exactly a country that's known for its super high temperatures or high humidity, so I can live without AC, just wind the window down. But yeah, overall I'm starting to make progress now. Well, we are now complete underneath. Right. That is everything disconnected under there now. And boy, was that a job and a half. Boy, that was that a task and a half. Just battled everything under there. Prop shaft is loose, I just left it sitting in place for the moment. Gonna grab a bite to eat because I didn't stop for lunch today, so I just carried on with this. But the next plan is I am going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to drop, it's windy, dust flying everywhere, lower the back end of this transmission down, get these axle stands out, which we've got them around for safety reasons, and then I'll get this down on the ground. That just leaves the fuel system to disconnect, and yeah, engine mounts, and I believe that is that. Oh, power steering is still to disconnect, but that's quite easy, a couple of hoses and that's done. So yeah, I must admit this has taken a lot longer than I'd hoped. When we took the Pinto engine, the gasoline engine out of the white van, basically I had it done it by now, but unfortunately just I don't know who has been working on this van in the past, but just rounded off bolts everywhere. I don't know whether they've just been using a impact gun or what, but just rounded off bolts everywhere. I do want the back axle out of this because the rear end on this has less backlash. Prop shaft though, I'm not, centre bearing on the prop shaft is, it's just completely gone, it's had its total. So there's no point in messing with the prop shaft, but I will take the rear axle off this. I want the springs off this as well. But otherwise, once this engine's out, we've virtually got everything off this. So, at least mechanically anyway. Anyway, I am going to go grab some lunch and then we will get back at it. So, once again, I'll be back. Well, there we have it. That's the old 25D I pulled out. And boy, did this put up a fight. As I think I said earlier, one of the issues was that this entire front end, whoever had messed about with it previously, and they'd rounded stuff off, they'd cross-threaded bolts into places they probably shouldn't have been. It was just a nightmare, so that's why I just sliced the front off. I mean, this is a scrap body shell, so just try to make it a little easier. But yeah, that's the engine out. The other problem was with this also had AC, so I have taken a moment to separate some of the AC harness which goes across the engine out of it, because I won't be putting that back in. When I really got into the system, just the whole system was just shot. I mean, basically every component needs replacing, so yeah, that's not going to be a thing. But yeah, there she is, the old Ford 2.5 Di banana engine, as frequently called, with the Mt75 5-speed transmission. Wow, this could have went better. Yeah, obviously no work's being carried out at the moment, so yeah, enough said. Well, I've now separated the exhaust system from the engine and transmission. This will make it easier to go in, but we have a development. Now, you may recognise this old girl. It belongs to my buddy Andy. It's his LDV truck. Now, it is fitted with the Ford TDDI, I think it's a twin cam turbo diesel. Unfortunately, it has a problem with the modules which control the engine, and a lot of work's gone into it and just have not been able to solve the issue. The engine itself's fine, it's the electronics, and this is a common issue with more modern diesel engines. They really rely on the electronics and any problems with them, and well, you know. So what he does have is he has a brand new Ford banana engine, just same as what's in the Transit. So the plan is to pull the TDDI out and drop the banana engine in there. And the only problem being is that it needs engine mounts. So given that this is not going to be on the road for a number of months, I have basically given them the engine mounts out of this that I'm going to be using on my banana engine, just to get the truck up and running again, because that is a work vehicle. You know, he uses that on a regular basis, so that is more important than my Transit, which is going to sit here for the next 3 months. Meanwhile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pulling out the dash on the blue van here. Now, I'm assuming it's pretty much the same as the white van was, so 3 bolts along the top, 2 each side and 2 behind the glove box, hopefully. I'll also pull the harness out. I have spent a little bit of time and basically freed up the harness everywhere except this one, which runs to the centre unit on the gas tank, diesel tank, and that side's all disconnected. I'm not going to be installing the harness because this is basically my last day here. I'm just going to concentrate on getting everything out of this what I want. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm leaving the original harness in the white van basically for reference, because there are certain parts of it which are the same, so it'll just make it easier when I come to transfer that over when I'm back in a few months' time. One other thing I've done is went round and connected. There's not many connections on these old banana engines, but I've plugged everything back in. It all comes down and terminates here, thankfully, which will plug into the wiring harness that I'm going to remove from there. A lot of this though, some of it's for lights, a lot of this is for the air conditioning system, which, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not putting back in. So that will all be separated out at some point. But so that's where I'm at right now. Everything's kind of rolling along. Things didn't go as smoothly as anticipated. That day of rain really screwed things up. I did get the other vehicle in. Was that sitting over there, the Maxus? That I didn't do a video on that. That was basically a 30-minute job, just adjusting the cables for the gear selector, and then that's sorted. So there wasn't really any reason to make a video on that. There's plenty of them up on YouTube. So that's it for now. I'm just going to get on, get the dashboard removed, get the wiring harness out, then basically just work my way through the van, pulling everything else off that I want. And then it's just going to be a case of packing it into the white van here. So I've got everything in place for when I return. Must admit, I do like those leather seats in there, they do look good. Anyway, I digress. So let's put the camera down and let's get back to it. Well, that's it out. Now let's start removing all of this wiring. What I am going to do though is I'm going to run the camera around here just to document everything, just so that when I come to put it all back into the white van I've got a video reference. So yeah. Well, that's it, all the wiring's out. Going to see if I can get the steering column out and maybe the front suspension, but I might leave that till in the morning before I leave. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, there we have it. That is the underdash wiring harness. Yeah, I mean, it's not as crazy as it looks. Everything has a logical place. Nothing will plug in where it's not meant to plug in. However, what I have done is, like so here, I've plugged in any modules that were under the dashboard. I've removed them and plugged them back into where they went. Now, this also carries through the bulkhead and into the engine compartment as well, so it's basically the entire front loom, and that is what I will be replacing in the white van here. Yeah, so you know, all in all, it wasn't that bad. Just patience and figuring out where everything is meant to go, and more importantly, just taking precautions so that when I do get back to this, I will remember where everything should be. Now it's quite easy. Fuse box is on the right and everything works to the left, so you know, I know which way around it goes, but you know, it's going to be a few months before I'm back here, so yeah. Now, what have I got left? Right, brake servo booster. I want the booster off. It's that is a good booster on there. Also want the pedals, clutch pedal, etc. This has got the later clutch pedal in, which anybody that knows transits, well, of just Fords in general of this period, they used a self-adjuster on the pedal, and it's basically like a plastic toothed ratchet system, and they work okay. However, they're plastic or urethane or whatever. The point is they wear out, and you will be driving along, hit your clutch pedal, and all of a sudden you've got none. So this, however, these later models, they went to a manual adjusting system, very similar to what the Mark II Transits had on, just a little bit more modern. So that is what I'm taking off. That's why I want the pedals and everything off here. I want that manual adjustment on the clutch rather than the self-adjusting mechanism on the white one. Moving to the inside, do want the steering column. That's still to be released, and I'll remove the rest of that. I also want this heater and air distribution system. It is slightly different from the white one. Basically the controls are, the mechanism is controlled by stepper motors rather than just the manual cables. So yeah, to get that dashboard working, I will need this complete unit. And yeah, there's still some wiring left over there. This basically runs to the back for the rear lights. There's also speaker wires there. If I have time, I'll remove them. If not, they'll remain. I don't need them. You know, the white van already has them in, so you know. But the other thing I want to try and get off today, I want the doors off, and I want the fuel tank out. As again, there are slight differences between the gas and the diesel. So, but yeah, otherwise that's it. It's about 2 in the afternoon. It's been a long day removing this harness. I mean, I started, I don't know, 10ish. I forget what time it was. It was early on today, so it's taken, it's a good 4 hours to get it out. But actually, no, that's not bad because I took the dashboard out as well. So yeah, a good 4.5 hours to remove the dashboard and the complete front end wiring harness. So yeah, that's not bad at all. Anyway, let me put this camera to one side again, and I will continue plugging away. I think I'm going to do that heater control next, that heater system. Then the pedals. Obviously the brake booster comes off when I do the pedals. Steering column and doors, and I'll leave the gas tank to last. So, wish me luck. Well, there we go. There's the diesel tank out. Put up a bit of a battle, but you know, she gave it up eventually. Well, we're almost there. This is actually now following day and my last morning here. So I'm going to spend about an hour or so. There's a couple of things I want off. I want these hinges because they're in just a better condition. I'm going to try and get the back axle off this morning, and maybe the front axle. So I'll have to see how time goes, because I do need to be away from here by about lunchtime. But yeah, overall it's been a long week. I can honestly say it has been a long week. Didn't get as far along as I would have really liked, which is a shame, but you know, that's how these things work out. Sometimes never quite do as well as you would hope, but you know, had a couple of snags along the way, that being one of them. I think I said earlier in the video it was like a 30-minute fix, which actually the adjustment on it was. But then when we went to move it, we lost the clutch on it. So I've been messing about for a good half a day anyway, getting the clutch back up and running on that thing. So anyway, I am going to wrap this video up. This will be the last transit video for some time. It's round about the 19th or the 20th of March now. I head off to the US on the 29th, and I won't be back in the UK until the middle of June. So it's probably going to be at least 4 months before I'm back on the transit. However, I am taking camera gear with me, and who knows, I might find something interesting while I'm in the US. I don't know. I'm just going to have to play that by ear. Everybody knows that at the moment second-hand prices are just through the roof. And I may see if I can find something cheap to run around in while I'm there. But whether it's going to be something interesting or not is another thing altogether. So that is something I'm just going to have to play by ear. But yeah, looking forward to that. Anyway, that's it for this video. I do hope you come back to see me sometime. Obviously, I would really like you to mash that like button and like you to subscribe. So, have a good one.